Hello, all you motherly mares and fatherly bears. Welcome to a show that introduces you to an exploratory expedition into the fuzzy-wuzzy world of the furry fandom for what it's worth.
Wisconsin, Texas.
Today's episode, we bring you a perspective that you may have seen or even been a part of.
Bananaconda.
A look into how this very fandom can be more than just talking animals.
Only certain cookies can be part of this new regime.
It is a fandom that has, on many occasions, saved lives and even strengthened relationships.
Woo, welcome to my quest womb.
Here today to share some experiences are our hosts of the show,
Where's the show gone?
Rue, Sammy, Nuka, Click, and Vows. This is Crisis, Stories of Furries Helping, or The Beauty of Community.
And welcome, everybody. Thank you so much, Charlie, for introducing us. We appreciate you 100%. I am Ruchi C. Lexico. I love cookies. Yes, I do. And I am here with a full cast of friends. Introduce yourself. Say hello.
Introduce ourselves. We do it all. We already introduce ourselves.
What if somebody is picking up this show for the very first time and they don't know who you are?
That's fair.
Well, that's why we do our recaps, isn't it?
That's true. Okay, fine.
Hi, I'm Nuka. Dr. Nuka, specifically. I'm here in the show.
Hi, Dr. Nuka. You're great. Awesome.
Aw, thank you.
Sammy, what have you been up to?
I mean, the same thing we do every week.
Try to take over the world? God, is everyone even going to know what that reference is anymore, or is this...
Sure, Brain, but
Oh
where
my
are we gonna
goodness,
find
if
rubber
you don't
pants
know
or
that
socks?
I hope
reference.
so. They
Oh, they remade it, didn't they?
Yeah, they rebooted it, and
I forgot about
the
that.
reboot's actually quite good.
That's what I've heard.
I quite enjoyed it. But yes, the Animaniacs. Haha. Anyway, I don't know, just been doing the regular day-to-day, been trying to pick up Final Fantasy 14 again, cuz I need to level up so I can do more stuff, cuz I'm still in the first game. Woo! Or the first expansion. I don't know. So, been doing that. And then playing Sons of the Forest with Rue and some of our other friends, and
Why would you want to do that?
I don't know. You guys are the ones that make me play, so
We finally taught you how to fly last night. Yay! Well, actually, specifically, Voss taught you how to
taught
fly.
me how to fly. I still am not sure I'll do it that much, but you know, I at least didn't die right away. I almost did. I almost fell off the side of the mountain. But, you know,
In
I
my
managed
expert
to catch
opinion,
myself.
as a real doctor, you shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't do that.
Minimize your falling off of a mountain.
Yeah. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend not falling off mountains.
The more you know.
Yes. Well, what about you, Nuka? What has your doctorly doctor been doing?
Well, at the time of recording this, it has been about an hour since I finished a marathon, so that's pretty cool. I've been doing a lot of long distance running with the end of the long distance walking, I should say, with the end of the semester, trying to get in shape, lose weight, my usual shtick. So yeah, if I seem a little out of it, that's why. Semester ended, which is great. So I finished marking a bazillion papers and exams, and I came through on that. So now I get to look forward to rejanking my courses and also getting prepped for Anthrocon. So for those who've been following the work that First Science does, every summer for the last 14 years or 13 years or whatever, we've gone to Anthrocon. So we're putting together our ethics for our Anthrocon study. And I think I've managed in gaming. I think I've managed to kick my Balatro addiction after putting 70 hours on the game. I've managed to unlock all the decks. I've done almost all the challenges. I think I can now put it off to the side and start another game. So It was touch and go for a little bit, but I think I'm starting to get over that addiction. Man, is it a good game?
Hey, Nuka.
What?
So I know that you talked about this on the last show, but let me tell you, I want you to talk about this one more time.
All right.
So you got an award recently?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot about. I should. I'm really bad at hyping myself up. Yes. So the first science book that we published back in December, which you can download for free at firstscience.com, or pay like a silly person for a physical copy from Amazon. It won an award. It won an Ursa Major award, which we are absolutely giddy about. So, So thank you.
That's like a really, really, really big deal. You have no idea. Like Ursa Major awards, they are very difficult. It goes through a big process to be able to get picked. So for you guys to get
I've written 5 books, and this is the first one that I get to say it's an award-winning book. So that's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
And with it, if you buy the physical copy, you can use it as a bludgeoning weapon.
It's 2.5 pounds.
Yeah, we have one. It's actually, there's a lot of good information in that sucker.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was a delight to write. Actually, the other books have been kind of a slog, but this one was an absolute delight to write from start to finish.
So now we have to introduce Nuka as Dr. Nuka, award-winning author.
Award-winning author, yeah.
So with that, I want to say,
what are you up
I
to?
think that you deserve the For What It's Worth classic clap.
Oh,
A clap.
Oh.
So here you go. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
Oh, I'm bad. I'm drinking that in. It's just. How about you, Rue? What have you been up to?
Well, I have been working, and crying. Yeah, all those.
You have
things.
time to cry? No,
No.
clearly you're not working hard enough.
It's more or less, it's like suck it up, Buttercup, and suck it into your soul and work harder.
No, it's
So
like that scene from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs where he like sucks the tear back into his eye.
Mm-hmm. So, I've just been super stressed out, but overall, I've been doing a little bit better with managing my stress, which has been helpful. So I'm not as like stressed out as I was, but things are going a lot better. So yay. I've also been apparently relapsing from chronic masturbation. Wait, who added that to the notes?
You did, don't you remember?
No.
You did it last night. I saw it.
Oh, well, apparently that's on the notes, and that was not on there earlier.
It's that's the through line for this season, right? Is Rue's crippling struggle with an issue that it's nothing to be embarrassed about, Rue.
Nuka,
Yes.
what's masturbation?
Oh, look, a segue.
So, I also found a cider place, and I took Sammy there the other day, and it was I love that cider place. It's fun.
So
Did you
hold on,
enjoy
a
it?
cider place, like it's like a bar
A cider
for
bar.
ciders.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because
So they
cider
have,
is
like-
the superior drink.
Is it like
God,
so it's like a
this state is so
microbrewery where
weird.
they make it there? Or
Yeah.
So they have
some
some
of
of
it.
their own that they make, but then they also bring in a bunch from
Okay.
different parts of the country, and also they had stuff from like Europe and the UK and
okay, but it's like it's the place to go if you want cider.
oh my god.
Huh?
Yeah.
It was so good. I think my favorite is this one that's called Crimson, which basically looks exactly like my colors, but it's like a raspberry cider. So it's pretty good. And then I have been doing Clubhouse stuff. So yay. Been working on all that stuff. Click. What have you been up to?
Not a damn thing.
Ah, that's good.
I've somehow managed to catch some sort of cold, and then right as I got over that one, I managed to catch some other sort of cold. So the last 2 weeks have really sucked.
Yeah.
So you've been patient zero?
Yeah, might be.
Have you tested for COVID and done all that jazz just to make sure?
Yeah, it was just a weird cold.
Just a cold? Huh.
Yeah.
None of us have seen Click for like what feels like forever because he's
I know,
just
right?
being trapped in his home, and we're like,
Bubble
"Where's
boy.
Click and Voss?"
The bubble boy.
Where are they? And then they're like, oh, we're sick. Oh, we're sick again. And we're like, what the fuck?
Which is funny because we don't go anywhere. We go from home to work, and we work in a shop with very few people. It's not like we're out doing retail and coming in contact with people.
Is it all the doorknob licking you've been doing?
That might be part of it.
You only need to lick the doorknobs that you know are safe to lick.
Oh.
As a doctor, I can tell you, only 2 out of 5 doctors recommend licking doorknobs.
But if you only go for the safe ones, what's the fun in that?
Yeah, fair.
I've also been kind of I don't know, I'm in a weird game limbo right now because
So you've been playing
everything
Limbo?
I play, well, I have played Limbo. It actually is a lot of fun. But everything's like Satisfactory's coming out with 1.0. There's a new one called Foundry
Eventually.
coming out.
We're waiting for
Right.
1.0 forever.
Factorial's coming out with a 2.0 at some point. You know, everything's got this update coming, so I don't want to just invest a bunch of time in it. So I'm kind of ADD jumping around.
There's this game called Balatro.
No, bad Nuka.
I'll have to check it
The
out.
first hit is free, kid.
Boss, what have you been up to?
Oh my god, I don't even know either. It's been pretty much the same. I've been working, and then I got sick from Click. Thank you.
What if it was the other way around? What if you started it?
I was perfectly fine working in a lab. I was healthy, and then I came back to work with you, and I got sick.
Maybe he brought it from the lab.
Yeah. Oh, did you think of that?
This is
Well,
beautiful.
if I was
Couples
perfectly
share
fine.
everything.
Yeah.
So they say. And other than that, I've been playing games with these two fools, Sammy and Rue, and dying a lot, and that's been great. Good old time. And then not much else. We sat down, we watched through the whole Fallout season.
No spoilers. I'm only
Yes.
3 episodes in so far.
Oh, it's so good.
I've loved it so far. Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. Minor hiccups from just inconsistencies lore-wise, but enough that I can still be happy watching it.
Well, that's what makes it great, because you played Fallout a lot.
Yep.
So for you to enjoy it is fantastic. I've played Fallout New Vegas for about 15 minutes, and that's my entire Fallout exposure, and I love the series.
They did a really good job straddling that line between like being able to make it accessible for new folks, but for like hardened veterans, there's enough there for them. All the little
Right,
nods
right.
and details.
Enough reference.
Yep.
Fan service.
Without being complete fan service, though. They had some new shit in there that I really liked.
Right. Very, very much recommended.
Yeah, so that's been my time. Anything else? I don't think so.
Hey, you joined in VR chat the other day.
What? Well,
You were the defendant, and I was the plaintiff.
other way around.
Oh, yes, it was the other way around.
I
And we
was
were-
accusing you of stealing my nuggies.
Excuse me,
And-
nuggies are gross.
Wow.
You're so
You're
rude.
a fox. Of course you're going to eat nuggies.
I love nuggies.
They're
Nuggies are
chicken.
great.
All
They're
I
very tasty.
all I can picture now is Rue being in court and getting the defendant's thing backwards. Just be like, the defendant is guilty. Like, sir, you are the defendant.
You are.
I rescind my claim.
And
Objection.
I rest my
I
case.
rest my case.
I object to myself.
I hold myself in
Ah.
contempt.
Speaking of objecting myself, I'm hungry. And I have a fortune for you guys. So today it says, be careful not to overspend in bed with a cookie.
So in other words, stop buying all those cookies, Rue.
Well, I think this is a really poor fortune. So, I mean,
No, it's
where
not.
did I get this?
I-
Bargain bin, like dollar store fortune
It's telling
cookies?
you got to stop being so chronic with your problem.
Yeah, stop paying for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't overspend.
There's plenty of free pornography out there, Rue.
Well, the first step is admitting that I have a problem, and guess what? I don't have a problem.
We're still on the first step.
I don't think we'll ever get past it.
Hello there. Welcome back. So, we've managed to wrangle Rue. And now we're going to keep his paws busy for a minute.
Good luck.
What?
A minute.
Mim-
A moment.
Wait, what am I doing?
We're going to make Rue read.
No!
Yay!
No!
I like this game.
I do not consent.
But you're the best reader of all of us, Rue.
You just like it because some Califado will come out. All right, here we go. This email is from Neon. He starts with, "Hi, my name is Mark. I've officially called myself a furry since 2010. Thanks to the entering the brony fandom, and realize that was a more focused version of furry. After 13 years, I finally landed on a protogen for my persona, Neon. A popular name for sure, but it's been my online name for about as many years as I've been furry. I love the show, binged watched the last 2 seasons, and have been eagerly awaiting this season's start. Anyways, to the topic. I feel like a small service, but back in the day, I commissioned my first art of my pony-sona, and after about 2 months of waiting with minor updates, I reached out to the artist. To my surprise, her digital tablet had broken, and she wasn't able to get a new one or complete any of the commissions, and had even had people cancel because of it. After talking for a while and realizing I was in a better financial position, I had purchased and sent an upgraded model of the graphics tablet she preferred. She was able to finish nearly all of the commissions that she had and thanked me profusely. I'm glad I could help her out, and I've since lost contact, but we ended up being good friends for a while, and I met some other good friends through her. However, I never got my commission work, though. But thanks for your time, and sorry the email was so long. Hopefully you didn't have to force Rue to read this.
Don't worry, we didn't.
Cookies and hugs for all, Neon." Well, thank you for sending in that lovely email. Overall, I think that it's great that you were in a financial position that you were able to help. And I'm sure that you, in some way, was able to affect her, to be able to help her in some way or form. And you had kind of a rippling effect. I am kind of sad to hear that even after all of that, that you still didn't get your commission.
Yeah, that was kind of a twist.
But the real commission was the friends you made along the way.
Oh, is that what it is?
But no, that's really nice. I'm always happy to hear about people doing this sort of thing. And yeah, especially to an artist, losing your tablet, that's like you losing your lifeblood. That's like how you do your work. So I imagine the artist was probably pretty grateful to you. So kudos to you. And I guess that's the theme for the episode today, which is moments of furries helping other furries.
There is still good in this world.
Really? I'm not 100% sure about that anymore. No, just kidding. But yeah, exactly. There's a lot of times that, you know, our community has things that happen, and there are times that people step up to the plate and make a difference. And
In small
is
ways
able
and
to
big
help.
ways.
Exactly. And I think we're going to continue to talk about that, and we have some other stories that we're going to share. Speaking of which, Nuka, do you want to read the next one?
Sure, yeah. So, let's see. Okie doke. So, salutations for what it's worth, crew. MephistophEli here to share something that is both on topic and a bit of an update on my social situation simultaneously. To begin, I followed your guys' advice in trying out VR chat to seek out other furries, either befriend or be around to gain insight. This was around early November of last year, I believe. What I got was both. I'll begin with my first VRC experience. I began with going to furry hideouts on desktop mode and was nearly immediately greeted by a half-drunk Swiss fur using a cute impish-looking avatar. The interaction was very unique, is the word I'll use. I have it recorded and may share it later. After that, my lady and I dove into the world of VRC with fervor, exploring various worlds and trying on different avatars all in desktop mode. Furry Hideout became our hub of sorts, with our roles switching completely. Normally IRL, I'm the one that talks to people and just sort of deals with the social interactions. This time, my wife was the chatty one, and I sort of became a wallflower, just enjoying others talk while I listened. Over time, we tried out Furry Talk and Chill, a rather low poly world with all the basics. There, we met a member of the furry fandom that almost instantly adopted us. A short while after that, we were brought into their Discord and have been part of them ever since. We've even become admins for VRC-related things, as they are a strictly 18-plus group for what might seem like obvious reasons. Eventually, my lady found out how to use Blender and Unity, making our personas. I felt so included once I put the avatar on, and have never had second thoughts about it. This feeling was enhanced when we actually got to Oculus, Oculi, two quests, and and link cables.
Kink labels?
Cables. I cannot stress enough how important the decision to try VRC was, and it has affected my life quite significantly. With these people's support and pretty inconvenient time limit, I was able to get us out of our situation and into the new home we are renting right now. Huge leaps have been taken since my last email, and it was partially because I decided to tune into a particular podcast to find out more about the furry community. I wish to thank you from the bottom of my heart for providing this awesome show, and I'm looking forward to our next patron outing. P.S. Did I forget to mention that the furry I met in the Discord group was in my state? I thought literally no one, especially furries, lived out here. MephistophEli's or Eli. So yeah, there's a bunch in there of examples of helping, both for what it's worth, sort of helping out with some advice, but also it sounds like just going out and putting yourself out there into the community. We often sort of forget that everyone had to start with a first step into this community, and it's always wonderful when you can sort of put your toe in the water and furries are willing to sort of take you in gently to, hey, allow me to show you this furry world of ours, whether it's in VR chat or in person. So it warms my heart to hear that, and I'm glad to see that it's had such a positive impact for you.
You know, when I got your email, I actually forwarded this email off to the people that were on that particular episode, and just to be able to show them, like, hey, look, this is some of the things, these are some of the things, because you came onto the show and, because you shared your advice, it was able to help other people. So I made sure to forward that information over to them, and they were incredibly grateful. But going back to what Nuka said, I know for myself, entering into the fandom, and I've shared this story multiple times, so I'm going to make it very quick and abbreviated. Overall, I almost left the furry community because I had a negative experience that happened at a convention, but I had a just an individual that put me underneath their wing and said, "Hey, let's go have a good time. Let's go have fun." And because of that individual, it got me involved in some certain things. Like, for example, he let me go to the Headless Lounge, and I was like, "Ooh, what is this? This special room that you can only enter if you're with somebody else that has these special fursuits." So he kind of really got me into wanting to actually have a fursuit itself. So it gave me that willingness to continue to be in the furry community itself and help me to be able to feel like I belonged. Do you guys have any stories that you want to share specifically?
Funnily enough, actually, so I've moved around a lot for my education. So I've at various points traveled across Canada and even into the US. And one of the things I've found that every time I move to a new place, the first thing I do is look for, is there a furry group in the area? And it's been amazing because every time I do, I always kind of feel alone because I typically move out to a new place by myself. And every time, the first friends I've met in that area are the local furry group. And most recently here in Quebec, I was especially nervous because I don't speak French. My French is garbage. And I was really nervous. I'm an Anglophone coming to Quebec where I don't really speak the language. I'm utterly terrified. Like, I don't even know if I can handle a trip to the grocery store, right? And I was welcomed with open arms by the local furry group here. In fact, a furry that some of you might know, Fire Breath, was one of the first to drive down from Montreal and take me to breakfast. I think like one of my first weeks here, took me out to breakfast and helped me sort of just feel less scared, I think, about taking the plunge and just traveling across the country. And I'm thinking, oh God, was this a mistake? And just feeling that sense of like, you're welcome here, you have a friend here, just made a world of difference to me. And it sort of encouraged me to, okay, well, there are folks here and I can branch out. And ever since then, now I have a house and I live with two of the local furries here, and it's been fantastic. So yeah, and I have stories like that every place I've gone. I've relied very heavily on the hospitality and generosity and just kindness of the furries in that area. So yeah.
Well, and I think it also is like, I mean, overall, as we joke, Rue joked, "Oh, there's no good people anymore." Bah. I mean, the crappy thing is it's very easy to see that and to definitely think that that's the case. But that's because all these terrible people doing terrible things and just
Wait, you thought I was joking?
generally being terrible are the loudest, most obnoxious, and the ones that everybody focuses their attention on. But then you have people in their communities, in their local groups, in their online groups, like with Eli, like these people that they met, that we just all happen to have a similar interest and share a same community, they were able to help him get out of a potentially bad situation and somewhere they can be safe and living somewhere safe. Like, that's huge. That's some big shit. And I see it all the time. I'm sure a lot of us get tired. Not tired, but it's hard to see, people being like, I need help. I need to get out of where I'm at, or something drastic has happened and I can't, afford to take my animal to the vet or something like that, because, most of us are just getting by day to day. So when those things happen, it can be a real devastating thing. And just the sheer willingness of people in the fandom being like, I don't have much either, but I have a little to spare, and I can give you that little to spare. And it's like, you know, they, people are generally, you know, people are good, and they want to help each other. It's just, those are the people that get sometimes pushed under the rug because they're not as fun to be like, oh, look at this person, look at what he's doing. Oh, you know, they're so weird and they're so terrible or whatever. So, there's definitely a lot of just people trying their best to get by and doing what they can. And we all feel the same on that level, I think.
Well, it's worth noting that help doesn't always have to come in the form of like money. I mean, money is a really obvious way that people might need help. But I'm also thinking about like furries have all kinds of skills. There's something called social capital, which is like all the unspoken stuff that comes from your relationships, right? By virtue of knowing you guys, I know, you know, if I ever had like a question about audiovisual tech, or if I ever needed to you know, talk to, you know, someone who runs a podcast, I know folks, right? So there's value in all of our relationships, all these tiny little unspoken things, all little expertise, and furries have that in spades, right? If you're you know, when I have to buy a new computer, right? Like, oh man, I don't know what to get for a new computer. Ask a furry, right? So someone in your local group is in IT. That's just a fact. Or there's gearhead furries, motorhead furries, who when a friend of mine, a colleague of mine here, is going to buy a new car, and like, I don't know the first thing about cars. Turns out there's a furry in the local group who is really just absolutely insane on electric cars and just knows everything about them. So drag them along, let's go buy a new car. So even just tiny little things like that, where, oh, you know, I mean, I have money, but I have some expertise, right? And I can help you out with that.
Well, I mean, even just like our little, not even like our local community, but like our little friend group, between all of us, it's like we have people who know computers, we have people who know cars, we have people who know how to do, you know, home improvement projects, we have people who know how to, you know, do all kinds of things that have just either they've done it themselves or they have, you know, that's their education.
You know, people that will eat your cookies for you.
People that eat your cookies for you, you know. And it's definitely, yeah, there's many times where it's like we can't help, you know, maybe with money or space or something like that. But it's like, hey, if you need help, if you need someone to come over there and help you, you know, put together your staircase, I have a nail gun, I have saw, I will come help, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, it's just a willingness and openness of being like, you know, I can't, you know, maybe I can't do much, but I can do what I can because other people are also important. And, you know, we want to see that happiness in each other.
Well, I know this is a different subject, but I know that sometimes people have a hard time asking for help when they need it. And I think that that's also important. I think that there's sometimes that we are very easy to be able to give that help. But then when it's time that we are the ones that need that help, sometimes people have a hard time, you know, being able to say, hey, I'm the one that's struggling. I'm the one that needs help. And I think that that's important too, is to be able to have that open communication, to be able to say, hey, I could really use some help painting a wall. I mean, yeah. I'm throwing that out as an example itself.
Yeah. Or it's like, we want to do something, but I need help getting everything set up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've seen that as well, going back to like, you know, specifically like GoFundMe's and things like that, is the number of times that I've looked at ones or looked at posts that are linked to them that it's like, so-and-so told me I should, or, you know, or even someone who's like, I have made this for so-and-so because they don't want to do it, but, you know, they have given me permission, kind of thing. So I mean, you definitely see that in the resonation of like, we need to be self-sustaining, but at the same time, it's okay, like, to give ourselves to everybody else. It's a very strange, like, social, kind of paradox of being able to ask for help versus being able to offer help, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, furries are very quick to offer help. It's been my experience, and there's almost that sense of guilt of needing to, I'm supposed to be the strong one, or I like to give help. But man, I feel like I'm taking from a community that's given so much to me to have to ask for help or to have to be a burden on people. And so sort of counter that, I would say, don't feel bad about it. If you've ever helped people, you know that there's joy in helping. Like it feels good to help. We saw that with Neon's email, right? It felt good to be able to help this artist out of a scrape, right? I've done it before too, where I've helped an artist out who was struggling financially, and I was out a few $100, but man, did it feel good to say, you ride around the rest of the day feeling pretty good about yourself, and it's nice. So don't be afraid to ask for help from the community, right? Now, that doesn't mean, overusing that or like taking advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, where the community is sort of here for each other, and we're a resource for each other. Don't be shy about giving and taking when needed.
Click.
Well,
Hey, Click.
that actually brings up a good point, Nuka, that I was thinking about. It's like, yeah, it's okay to ask for help, but don't be that furry that goes to a con when you have zero money, and it's like, I took $20 to eat on the entire con, and then you have to beg for money for help. It's like, yeah, I'll feed you because, people need food, but come on.
He'd be a little annoyed with you
it's
while
a little
doing
ridiculous.
it.
Right. But then there's specific situations that come up, and it's a pretty good example of how quickly people are willing to help and how things work is at a con. We got word somebody's luggage in flying to the con got obliterated. Like, it was completely unusable.
So not lost, just like blown
it
up.
It just got obliterated, right? And it was like, well, I need something to get home with. So I was like, well, here, have some cash, go to Walmart, buy a duffel bag or something. At least get your stuff home. But, that's a good specific situation of something beyond your control. Now you're strapped. You didn't plan for this to happen. But sometimes shit happens.
Yeah. Very much you can plan and budget and be like, okay, we got it down. It's good. And then, something happens and you're like, well, now everything is sideways.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, generally speaking, I think furries and people in general, not just furries, but people in general, are more willing to help when it feels like something that was like genuinely out of your control. Like if your own choices led you to this set of circumstances and it was kind of foreseeable, like I said, the con example, like, oh, I chose to go to this con with $20 and no budget for food. I mean, furries are often still willing to help, but probably, you'll get a side eye, and maybe they'll be a little bit less, more annoyed about helping because, maybe you kind of did this one to yourself. But if it's genuinely, if you find yourself in a situation where you couldn't have anticipated this, or you're in a rough situation, I mean, most furries, we're a fandom of people who sometimes had a rough go, who have a history of being bullied or ostracized. I mean, a lot of furries have had an experience where, for no reason, that was our fault, we find ourselves in a vulnerable position. So it makes it very easy to empathize.
I have a story that relates to that. So I know of a friend that he does a lot of dancing. He usually judges some of the dance competitions, and sometimes he's jumping up on stage a lot. And I knew that he had his fursuit ended up breaking and he didn't have a zipper for it. And he was freaking out because he had to get on the stage and jump up on there. And I know of this other furry that was just like, you know what? I'm going to help you. And he took off his zipper from his suit.
Oh my God.
To install it onto his suit so that he could go on and jump in and be able to do that performance. And that really,
that's so sweet.
Who would do
that
such a
person,
thing?
I've never said this to them or anything, but that person, it really kind of touched me.
Mad
It was
props.
really,
Yeah.
really awesome that they did that.
Well, that reminds me, like almost every con or many cons, I should say every con, but many cons I've gone to, I've seen them with a station, like a fursuit repair station, and it's not like pay $10 and I'll do like some stitch for you. As far as I know, most of the stations I've seen have been free. It's volunteer. It's people who are like, hey, I choose to spend time at this con helping repair fursuits for people who have problems, right? And I'm like, that's incredible to me, right? Or think of all the volunteers, like all the staff at conventions, right? Those are unpaid people, right? Who, I'm volunteering, I'm helping out so we can all have this convention by sitting and manning doors for 6 hours, or someone's got to work behind the reg line, right? Work behind the things, and it's the first day of the con, everyone's excited to get there, and they're spending it, at a computer processing this grumpy registration line. So you see examples of this all the time at conventions of people helping and choosing to do so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if we go off that, like we had 1 year, where a friend of ours who was staying in another room, was supposed to stay in another room. Well, the person who booked the room never showed up.
Oh.
And they're like, I don't know what to do. Like, they had paid this person and all of that, and the person just never showed. And I was like, we have a full room, but, we can make you fit.
Sleep in a bathtub or a closet.
And we never asked.
Yeah,
really
there's always
for it.
floor space.
Yeah, well, it became you take the bed, because you need the bed, and I ended up sleeping on the floor using Puck as a body pillow.
You are a much better friend than I
was like, hey, that suit is so comfy when he's all stuffed. I laid the tail out and laid on that because he's got a big old tail, and he was all big and comfy. I mean, I'm like, it's a couple of nights. It's not the end of the world. But again, not like they planned it. It was, they had everything lined up. And it was like, I'm not going to leave you without a room because someone else screwed you over.
Or you could,
I know that we're running out of time and we need to go to break. So I was going to just shove in one more quick story. I had a time at a convention. I had a time where I lost my job. And I had been unemployed for a long period of time. It was 6 months plus. And I struggled. I don't know what was going on. I really had a hard time. And finally, one of my friends, they were like, you know what? I need to look at your resume. Like, give me your resume. Let's look at it. And let's see what we can do to be able to improve it. And I was so proud. I handed him my 6-page resume.
Oh.
And was like, I am going to get
diagnose the problem from here.
any sort of job. And he sat down with me and he really helped me out to be able to clear up my resume, to be able to help me to be able to get employment. But during that period of time, my friends really came together and they actually sponsored me to go to a convention, and they paid my whole entire way. And I was able to go, and it was a much needed break just to be able to examine some things about my life and to be able to figure out exactly the direction that I needed to. And that helped me out a lot. So anyways, let's go to break.
I do have one final thought on that email though.
Okay.
Just a quick one. You were surprised that the furries that you ran into on VR were in your state. That's a good point to take into account. Is no matter where you are, chances are there's a furry group.
Yeah.
We are everywhere.
We are legion.
We are,
We are many.
And with that, now we can go to break.
Well, howdy, sport. Well, gee, you're looking a little down, gosh, aren't you? Well, no need to be upset. I got just the thing for you. A big old shiny balloon. Nothing makes things feel a little lighter on you than holding a balloon, wouldn't you say? Enjoy it for all that it's worth. Or for what it's worth. The podcast.
And welcome back. Hope you all enjoyed your little break. We're gonna get back into it. We'll start our second half off again with some more emails. We got a good amount of emails this week, so we want to make sure we get them all read.
Hey, Sammy, there's an email from Brownie Otter. Will you read that one for us?
Yep, I got it. All right. So it says, "Hello, everyone. As a furry streamer that focuses on mental health, and also a mental health survivor myself, I definitely have been on both ends of furries helping furries. On the streamer side of things, I try to give people a place to talk about their life problems and maybe offer some advice and kind words. I'm not really sure if I've had a real impact with this. People say I've helped them just by giving them a distraction, but I tend to be more on the advice-giving side of things than the digital hugs style of helping. And it hurts when I see people not listening to what I say and continuing to suffer, but I also know people might not be receptive to advice at all times. There are also people that deal with issues that I have not, like family and financial issues, and I regret that I don't know how to overcome those. I think, more than anything, the way I help others best is to be a consistent presence in their lives, reminding them that someone cares even when they feel like no one does. On the other hand, I sought help from many local furries when I was struggling with my mental health with mixed results. I was often too intense for others, especially when I was in a crisis, and I was looking in public chats, which were probably not the right place. I also had a severe brain chemistry imbalance that didn't respond to over 20 kinds of medication, and until I got fixed 4 years into treatment, there wasn't much people could say that would have gotten through to me. I hope that after going through that, I can be a success story to others dealing with similar problems. That no matter what, there is going to be something that turns those nasty brain chemicals around. It's just a matter of finding it. Of course, for many in this position, they're going to have trouble seeing that. Anyways, I hope to get better at helping furries, and I look forward to hearing your podcast's perspective on the matter. Thanks for listening, Brownie Otter."
Yeah, it's great that you're able to be there for people, Brownie, especially if I know that it can sometimes feel like advice is falling on deaf ears, or you kind of worry about, like, am I really helping? I've definitely had times before where I've had a friend come to me and they're in sort of a bad way. They've had a really bad day. And I always kind of joke. I'm like, the worst kind of feeling is when the best thing I can say is, that fucking sucks, dude. And that's the best I can do. I'm like, I don't know what else to say except I acknowledge that the situation you're in is a really crappy one and there's nothing I can do. And it feels so trite. It feels so like I'm not helping. It's easy to underestimate. Like sometimes it's not so much what you say or what advice you give or what you do. Sometimes it's just the fact that someone was even willing to take the time to listen. That's sometimes the best help that you can provide.
So, yeah, I'm gonna touch on this because this is something that is very much in my own line of struggles, because I am diagnosed with major depressive disorder, some OCD, and some other things. I have a long family history of bipolar, anxiety,
Collecting them all.
just a mess of stuff. Yeah, and not in the fun way. I mean, I've had my own incidences of not making good choices in those moments where you are deep in those, in that headspace. One thing that's definitely helped me a lot that I've, have been kind of discovered in the last few years is sometimes when I'm in those points of like, everything is shit, I feel like shit, everything is the worst, and there's not always a way, like, when someone says, what can I do? There's not always an answer from the person that's struggling. There's not always a way to say, well, I need, X, Y, and Z. I need, put on a movie or something.
People aren't black and white.
Sometimes it's just like, I just have to sit here in this emotion because there's nothing I can do to stop it, but just be there. Like, just be present. Just, if it's like sit with me or just chat with me or, let me, if you're okay with it, will be a sounding board so I can vent kind of things. Because sometimes it is, you can't pinpoint, sometimes you can be like, oh, this has happened and it's kind of triggered an episode of whatever, but so much of it is, chemical balance in the brain, hormone balance, so many other things that we're like, we have no really good way to control this other than your meds, and sometimes the meds can only do so much, and you just have to let it run its course, and that can be a hard thing. So sometimes it's just being like, I don't know why I feel this way, but this is how I feel. Just so you're aware kind of thing, or, let's go, I feel this way. Can we go, lay down and snuggle or something? Like one of the things I found for me I find is funny is I ask my partner to lay on top of me. I'm like, give me that heavy weight. Yeah. It's like, it's the weighted blanket thing, but I'm like, no, I want like the bodily person on top of me, because it just kind of makes everything else stop. So it's hard to know, and everybody's different in the things that help them in those moments. And so when you're dealing with multiple people, like in a Twitch, it's not everything you say will help for everyone, but I'm sure it does help somebody.
So that kind of makes me think a little bit of it's I have this YouTube video that for some reason it is my favorite YouTube video, but it is from, I'm gonna butcher her name and I'm really sorry, but it's Dr. Bria Brown, but she basically talks about empathy and what is the difference between empathy and sympathy, and knowing the difference between those two. And when you have somebody that comes to you in crisis, sometimes it's very easy to show sympathy, but not to show true empathy. And it's important to know the difference between it. And sympathy is, oh, I'm sorry about that happening to you. I'm sorry about your dad dying. My dad died too. That's sympathy. And that's not really showing empathy. And I feel like that it's good for people to know empathy to be able to fill with others, to be able to help them to, sometimes empathy is just listening and just being there and just saying to somebody, I know what you're going through really sucks, but I'm here for you, and I just want to listen. Nuka.
Yeah, I was gonna speaking to kind of both those points. One thing to keep in mind too, if you're on the helping end, the person who wants to help, one thing to keep in mind too is sometimes the thing that they need is not something you can provide. As a silly example, if a fur comes to you with like a broken leg, right? Like, God, my leg's hanging off and busted, right? Like, okay, this person clearly needs medical attention, right? Unless you happen to work in a doctor's office and have access to like a cast making.
But you're a doctor, Nuka.
And not that kind of a doctor, right? But like in that moment, right? What this person needs is to go see a doctor. So sometimes the best thing you can do is not personally help, get this person or encourage this person to go to someone who can help. So especially with a lot of mental health stuff, sometimes the best thing you can do, right? If you're not a therapist, okay, well, is there a way? I'll listen and I'll help. And hey, maybe we can help you get to a therapist. Is there, can I perhaps contact a crisis center for you? Can I had that with one of my roommates who was really, really, really struggling with anxiety disorders. And ultimately, one of the things I did with their consent, of course, is I helped them get in touch with and get them essentially to a doctor who could recommend them and get them in to see a psychologist so that they could get the help they needed. So don't feel like you have to personally single-handedly fix this person's problems.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's a matter of just, helping them get to those who can.
So I work with people and a lot of times I work with people that have very, very strong barriers. It could be somebody has just lost their significant other. It could be somebody was just raped and left alone, or they're in some domestic violence type situation, like some really serious stuff. And guess what? I'm not a licensed clinical therapist. I'm not. So just like what Nuka's saying, I don't have all of the tools to be able to help them. And so, but I mean, sorry, I can't fix it myself. And if I did that, then, oh my goodness, my job would be even more stressful and even more hard. Now, of course, I do my best to be able to listen to them, but I do have tools in which I can refer people to an actual professional so that I can send them over to a licensed clinical therapist and say, hey, here's this individual. This is the person that can help you out. I have resources at my fingertips where it's like, if somebody comes to me and says, I have domestic violence issues, I have resources to give them and refer them to the professional. And I think that that's what's important, is being able to be there and listen, but know when you cannot help and know what your boundaries are. And it's important when you're that person that's helping to know what your boundaries are in order to truly be able to help somebody.
And I think we had another email, right?
Oh, let's click. You have anything you'd like to add?
Sure. Actually, the point that I was thinking about with that email was, as a streamer, streaming is so big now. It's everywhere, right? And there's so many people that do it. But one thing that as somebody who doesn't stream, but I watch, if there's a few that I follow, it's you can be helpful just by doing it, just by streaming, right? Because you're a comfortable space for somebody to go to on a regular basis. Because most streamers have a regular schedule, right? That's what they do. So it's like I said, it's a comfortable space for somebody to go to every Tuesday or every evening or whatever. And it's just, it's another furry. It's somebody you can watch them play games and just hang out and be comfortable, and you can not worry about everything. You can just let go and get lost in. It's like a good movie, right? But it's a regular scheduled thing. So it's just streamers provide a comfortable space for people to go to, and that actually helps a lot.
Yeah, and it with the streaming, that I think a lot of people seem to really like about streaming versus, maybe just watching a YouTube or something, is you get to interact,
Right.
If they're feeling
if you want
alone,
to,
or
right.
they're like, I just need someone to just talk to bullshit with, you can have you can still have a conversation with someone that you kind of know and can talk to, but it still gives you that ability to be like, I can still do this when I need for me.
Right. Right. And I mean, obviously streamers aren't mental health professionals, but it is nice to have a space to just go hang out and be with other people who enjoy the same thing, which is kind of what furry's all about.
100%. All right, Click, you want to read that last email for us?
Oh, I think I can manage. Alrighty. So, this says, "Hi. Saw your post on Mastodon. It reminded me that one of the key flashpoints for me getting hardcore roped into the fandom was the furry worries thread on r/furry over on Reddit. Started by u/the whoop and currently continued by u/it's alpha wolf. The most recent version is week 362. It's a usually weekly community-driven place for people with worries, concerns, and mental health troubles to seek support from other members of the community, along with creating an area for open discussion and peer support. It directs people to a huge range of support resources in a number of countries. It was through one of these threads in early 2016 that I met one of my longest time friends after I opened up about my ongoing struggles with depression and attempted self-harm. This friend convinced me to confide in a friend I knew in person and to ask him to help me seek help. Without the furry worries thread and the friend I met through it, I don't think I'd be where I am today, or possibly if I'd be here at all. I've not engaged much with the subreddit in recent years, but it's great to see that it's still going on and giving people much needed support where they may otherwise struggle to find it. Thought this might be of interest given your theme. Best, Robin."
That's awesome.
Well, and that does kind of go right along with the theme, right? It's a help resource. Obviously it's not professional help, but it's a place to start. It's a first step. You can, and that's kind of one of the neat things about this fandom, right? Is just like you said, you could find, if I can't help you personally, I can be the first step getting you in that direction.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that exists. I'd actually never heard of that before. So for those who are listening here, just in case you missed it the first time, it's on r/furry on Reddit, and it's the Furry Worries threads. So
yeah, Furry Worries.
I'll have to check that out because I never heard of that before. That's a phenomenal resource for being there, especially, and it's going on for like 360 weeks. So that's years. That's incredible. So yeah, I would say we'd signal boost it, but chances are if it's been going on that long, they probably don't need us to signal boost them. But that's a great resource. I'll check it out and see if I can keep that in my back pockets to recommend to folks who might benefit from it. Oh, is Sammy researching it right now?
I'm just looking at it a little
Looking
bit.
up to see what it's all about.
Yeah, wow, there are some very good resources on here.
Well, and that's one thing to think about, right? Is like I said before, furries are literally everywhere. Because that's the thing, right? I wouldn't have thought of Reddit
No.
as a place to look for somebody to confide in, right? But I guess that's one thing to remember is that we really are everywhere.
Everywhere, in all kinds of profession, with all kinds of experience, with all kinds of knowledge that most of us want to share. Like, one of my favorite things to do is to sit and listen to people when they get talking about a topic that they're into. Like, especially if it's a couple of people, and I'm just like, 90% of the time, I'm like, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about, but I can feel their passion and excitement. Like, I love that. And I love that it resonates so far across different things. Like, the furry is what connects us, but we all have our unique understandings and things that we know or don't know, and it can all help each other in some way or another.
Well, it's nice to see, because we were talking in the previous segment about how furries kind of feel bad about imposing on others, or oh, I don't want to be an imposition. We were saying that, well, no, furries actively like to help. I mean, this is a testament to this. I'm fairly certain they're probably not getting paid to run these threads. This is just out of the, as far as I know, out of the goodness of their heart, or just a genuine desire to want to help. These folks have been doing this for years now, it sounds like. That's we have that kind of thing all over the fandom. It's just people who just genuinely want to help in whatever way they can, even if that help just involves steering people sort of in the right direction.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just turning into a cynic furry. Maybe that's what I am. Maybe I'm a cynic furry now. Because there's sometimes, like, I help out sometimes I feel like I'm a chronic helper. I love helping. And I help too much. And I think that sometimes I don't know, that's one of the things that I feel like that I have had to learn throughout the years, is that, boundaries are so important, and, making sure that you can help yourself as well. If you're in a situation that you help people so much that you just run your batteries down, and you don't take the time for yourself and have self-care, like, sometimes I feel like that it's so easy to have that focus of always helping other people, but sometimes that the person that we neglect is ourselves. And, we need to make sure that we don't forget about ourselves when we're going around helping. We need to also make sure that you're helping yourself as well. So.
And you're talking about being cynical there, Rue. If I could share a story here that I hope, despite it being a very sort of sad story, a story that hopefully will warm your heart a little bit, or at least sort of give you hope that there are good people out there. I want to give a shout out to someone who recently, the word hero gets kind of thrown around a lot, but I would consider this person to be a hero personally to me. So some of you may or may not know or be aware of, the First Science team lost one of our members in Sweden earlier this year. Curie Crisis, a phenomenal writer, one of the co-authors of the book, our resident political scientist, and a dear friend of mine, unfortunately passed away due to complications, due to health issues, while we were at Nordic FuzzCon doing research. And let me tell you that, like, in the days, in like sort of the last, when this was all happening, that was one of the worst days of my life. It probably was the worst day of my life. We're in Sweden. I know nothing about Sweden. I'm in a country I don't know. I'm at a furry convention, so there's the chaos of the last days of a furry convention going on. And Curie is quite sick, and we're going, what do we do? I don't know the medical system in Sweden. I don't know where the nearest hospital is. I wouldn't even know how to get there if I had to, right? And so Ocean, Curie's husband, and I are trying to figure out, what do we do? We're panicking, we're freaking out. This is like this is about the worst case scenario for us. And on staff at Nordic FuzzCon was one of the medics there. And I hope he forgives me if I get it's Mama or Muma. I think it was Mama. But he was, one of the folks on the medical staff there at the convention. And you would assume, and certainly some of the other medical staff there said, okay, well, maybe we need to call an ambulance or call a cab or something to get her over to the hospital. And Muma said, well, oh no, hold on. The hospital isn't that far away. You can get there by train. It's like one stop away, and that's probably the fastest, easiest way to get her there. I said, okay. I'm like, well, we don't know where it is, but I guess we'll go figure it out. He said, oh no, I'll go with you. And so again, in the middle of a convention, he said, I'll go with you. And so, oh, okay. And so, we put Curie in the wheelchair and we start, wheeling her to the train station to go. And so we're sitting there and say, okay, how are we going to figure out how do tickets work in this country? How is it? Oh, I already paid for them. I used my phone. We already paid for them. Your tickets are paid for. We're like, holy shit. Like because again, Ocean and I, all we can think of is like, there's a million things on our mind right now. The logistics of figuring out the trains in Sweden are not primarily. He paid for the tickets just out of his own pocket. Just, I got it. It's paid for. Oh, okay. So he takes us to the hospital, walks us to the hospital. We're in there, and then he waits with us. We're panicking. He speaks to the person at the front desk because English was not her first language, as you might imagine in Sweden. He speaks with her, explains there was an adventure involved. Eventually, Curie is going to be admitted, and Ocean and I need to sort of go back to the hotel, right, while she's admitted. And so we eventually make our way back, and Mama comes with us. And then he says, okay, well, in 8 or so hours, we're going to have to go back. It'll be like 3 or 4 in the morning or whatever. And Mama says, okay, I'll go take a nap now, and you guys text me when you're about to go back. I'm like, oh, you really don't need to do that. And like, no, like he's like, it mattered to him that we were taken care of. He's like, I'll 3, 4 in the morning, whatever time you text me, you let me know, I'll come down and we'll go back over together. And throughout the entire ordeal, so I had to leave partway through this ordeal because I had to go back to Canada. I had teaching and stuff, which is, by the way, one of the worst things that I ever had to do. It was horrible. And so I had to leave my best friend Ocean there in a country he doesn't know. His wife is in the hospital, and Mama was there, right? So after the con had ended and everyone's going home, Mama was a resource for them. It was, okay, let me try to get you in touch with people with local furries in Sweden that help you out. In the days when Curie was in a coma, so here there's a local fur meet here. Why don't you try to get your mind off of it for a couple of hours and come out to a fur meet? Just what was almost certainly just a terrifying, horrific experience was made just a little bit better by someone he didn't have to do any of this at all, right? He was volunteering on staff as part of the medical team, right? His obligation was like, get her to the hospital. So all of this he did out of the goodness of his heart. And so I wanted to shout him out and just say, this was a person who went just absolutely above and beyond. I don't know if I can ever truly sufficiently thank him for being just a calming, stabilizing presence in what was just an absolute shit show, chaotic situation for us. And again, it was one of the just the worst days of my life, and it was made better by his being there. I don't know what we would have done without him. So I don't know if he'll ever hear this, but it matters to me that people know that what he did was amazing and just absolutely beyond the Call of Duty. So yeah.
Wow, Nuka, I sure do appreciate you sharing that story. That's very, very heartwarming. 100%. The fact that he went above and beyond for you guys Like that's amazing.
And I should say,
And
by
he
the way,
didn't
shout
even
out.
know who you were.
No, he did. Yeah, yeah. And a shout out, by the way, to the entire Swedish, especially in Malmo, the Swedish community there. You guys were phenomenal in helping Ocean in the days following. He needed to find a place to stay for a few days after the convention had ended. The Swedish furs were absolutely instrumental in helping out with that, and just being a constant presence for him when he needed it the most. Again, he's thousands of miles away from his family, from his friends, from his social support network, just alone, going through the worst thing a person could imagine. And all these furs, these strangers, were there for him. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just it brings. It helps me to not feel so cynical that there are good people in the world because of how many of them were there for him. So.
Well, and that's one thing to always remember. You know, there are a lot of good people, and there are a lot of good furries. You know, overall, that's what this fandom's really about.
Nuka, can we give him the clap?
Yes, I absolutely think he if anyone deserves it, it's him.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Good job.
The worst clap, but also no, just the worst clap.
We'll get it one day.
Nah, you know us. We can't time anything.
Well, with that, I think that is actually a good spot for us to go to our final break.
We thank you for donating to keep our podcast alive. We're here to welcome Anthallo, Sly Sugarcat, Dorkos, Marcosius, the Joetic Demon, Geekware, Nuka, Xenon Dragon, Adela Salthier, Andrew Rabbit, Big Bear Luno, Black Baldrik, Jonas Frax, Lufis the Raccoon, Oaken, Zane Cateye, Aster, Guardian Lion, Harlan Fox, Hugs and Bites, Tenax Raccoon, Kachi, Koru, Eli, Mephistoph, Plug, Ausi K, Ben Hearn, Booga, Cactus Bat, Chaphogriff, Chaphogriff, David Inhen, Luka, Lygris, Ryan Block, Snares, Tamari Boba, August Otter, Christian, Hachi Shibaru, Ichigo Ookami, Ilya Rybitsev, Jake Fox, Kit, Mengix3, Roliga, Tire 52, Victor Mutt. We thank you for donating to For What It's Worth.
That tune gets better every time.
It really does.
It's so beautiful.
It's amazing. It's lovely.
It's like drinking bleach. Just kidding.
With your ears?
With my ears. It burns.
Thanks again, patrons. We can't do it without you.
It's true.
I appreciate it. Even though that, as the list gets longer, it's more and more torture. I still do appreciate it somewhere.
I'm thinking about creating a second Patreon account just to sign up again and prolong it.
Just to make it longer.
Nuka and Nuka too.
You would do that.
Let's just make a bunch of spam accounts just to make it last forever.
Oh, instead of my $120 donation, I'll just make it 20 separate $1 donations from 20 separate accounts.
No, you're giving people ideas. No, Nuka.
Yes, do this. Do it.
I
It's
guess
just
that counts.
$101 donation.
No.
That does count as a patron benefit, right?
Yeah.
For even the lowest tier, you get to prolong Rue's suffering for at least a couple more seconds.
And then the song is longer. Apparently, there's a whole chorus.
Oh god, I can't wait till we get to chorus tier.
Chorus tier. Maybe we should make that a level. Chorus tier, and we have to play the chorus.
Just play the whole
Chorus
thing.
tier, we read your name really slow so we get to the chorus.
Well, I want to say we've been doing more stuff with our patrons. The new thing that we've started is we've been doing patron games monthly in our Discord server. So, come join us.
Do you know what Gamer Cup we're doing up next? Is it's we did Among Us last time. Are we doing was it Jackbox this time or no? I don't remember.
I think that we're doing
Have we decided yet?
Jackbox, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll figure that out.
Either way, they can come, if they're a patron, on the first Sunday of the month and see what shenanigans we're getting up to. And it's just for patrons, so, it only depends on how many people are there if we get to really torture Rue or not.
The other day I had I was actually working on show notes, and I just posted in there and said, "Hey, I'm working on show notes. Does anybody want to pop in and give me a few ideas?" And actually, your order that you read everything in today, that wasn't picked by me. That was picked by our patron.
Nice.
So, anywho, we should talk about our final thoughts on this particular episode. Let's start with Click.
On the spot.
Me first.
Yeah, you first.
You first.
Well, like I've said about 100 times, we are literally everywhere, and there are a lot of good furries we're willing to help. Yeah, that's kind of my wrap up of the whole episode. Large or small, there's plenty of people out there willing to help.
Voss,
What?
you haven't said anything all episode. I want to break that.
No, it's been beautiful. It's been so serene in this box.
Hey, you tortured me with the music, so I'm torturing you to speak.
And I can do it at any time, like right now.
I love it.
Suffer.
No.
Okay, that's about enough of that.
He's gone mad
For
with power.
now,
For now.
you've got to pay for more.
And we wonder why Rue is cynical.
We wonder why he's got a chronic masturbation problem.
Hey, we can talk about that on another episode.
Oh, okay.
On a very special episode of For What It's
Oh
Worth.
no,
The extended cut.
patron exclusive. Behind the scenes, XXX.
Behind the Rue's problem.
Rue's problems. Him eating cookies and masturbating. Okay.
That's a voice clip right there.
Sammy, final thoughts.
Okay. Well, no, Voss. Voss didn't go.
Oh, sorry. I thought Voss was choosing not to.
Oh, no, I totally did go. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, your turn,
Oh,
Sammy.
okay. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure you had a chance, Voss.
Wait a minute. You're not getting away.
No, he had his turn. It's fine. It's my turn now. No, but yeah, where good people are out there. They're just sometimes it's hard to remember when there is so much not so good going on around us. it's hard. I will be the first one to say that reaching out and asking for help is so fucking hard. And, sometimes it's worse if you don't. So, be out there, be open. People care, whether you think it or not. People care. What they can do to help may be limited, but you never know what kind of help someone can provide if you need it. Yeah. So, Nuka.
Yeah. I guess I would say that we sort of live in a world where there's a lot of people who need help at any given time, and it can be a little overwhelming. Something we call, oh my god, I cannot think of the name. I'm a terrible psychologist. Essentially burnout, though. You can get emotional burnout. So it's easy to kind of disengage when you see how many people need help and think, well, I can't possibly fix everyone's problems. I guess I would caution you against taking that approach and to say, well, no, help doesn't mean like you have to bankrupt yourself helping other people. It doesn't mean you have to have prolonged hour-long therapy sessions with people. Help can be tiny little things like offering to go to lunch with a new fur in town. It can be 5 minutes of IT advice to a new fur who's looking to build a new computer, or an afternoon helping a furry move, right? It can be tiny little things. It can be all sorts of different ways that it can take place. So don't let yourself feel like it's helpless or that there's just nothing that you can do. There's a million different ways you can get involved and help in the fandom, big and small. And and remember, you help because it feels good. You enjoy helping. We all like that feeling, that warm, fuzzy feeling that comes from helping. So don't be surprised when other people wants to help out when you need it too. So, Rue.
This Sunday, Rue and his cookies in bed.
I think we need to unplug his mic, guys.
Wow.
No, in all seriousness, I do want to retract my statement. I am not a cynic, but I just want to say that I am grateful for all the little things that I see that people do. And there's been a lot of things that people have done for me to be able to help me to be the cookie loving fox that I am today, with apparently what Nuka has said is chronic masturbation issues. But overall, I want to say thank you to the fandom, the furries that are out there that do good, that spread good things, because it's so easy. It's so easy to fall into what's wrong. What's wrong with our community? What's wrong with the fandom? What's wrong with the world? It's so easy to fall into that. It's hard sometimes to look at what's good. So, thanks for joining us for this particular episode.
And Rue's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
And then he had an aneurysm because it was too big for his chest.
Wow.
So, what do we have in the mailbag?
Well, I mean, we
read a
had
bunch
those
of it.
4 lovely emails for the episode, but that's all we had. We didn't have anything else.
Speaking of which, very much appreciated. We love getting feedback from you guys. We love help with the episodes. Your guys' opinions and thoughts on things matter, and we really enjoy adding them to the shows.
Yes.
We get pretty boring just talking in the air about things, just ourselves and stuff.
Well,
so we really appreciate any emails and support that you guys send in.
and we
So
love
thank
hearing
you.
what you guys have to say. And if we're on an episode talking about something and you're like, well, no, that's stupid, tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why you think, maybe we're like, oh, no, don't do that. That's a terrible idea.
You mean you want to bring back the hate mail segment?
I mean, sure.
Yay! I love
It could
the
all be
mail
hate mail
segment.
depending on how you read it. But no, we really do enjoy getting emails and hearing what people think and how they feel. And, if there's things that you're like, wow, I really hate this part about the show, maybe tell us that too. I don't know. We always just want to do better. So, with that, we just gonna wrap up with some housekeeping. As always, you can find us on our website at forwhatitsworth.com. We have our social media accounts. We've got Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Facebook, YouTube as well. All of those are For What It's Worth. You can contact us about our Telegram channel. We do have a Telegram channel or chat for show listeners. To get onto that, you do need to be 18 plus. And just reach out to Rue for that on Telegram, and he's at Wine Red Fox, and we can get you on there.
I've actually added something new. If you click on my profile, you can actually just join the channel For What It's Worth. Just make sure that you're 18 plus.
Yep, we do appreciate that. As we said, you can always shoot us an email. If you want to send just general emails, you can send those to cast@forwhatitsworth.com. If you want to email anybody in particular, we all have our own individual emails. So, like Rue at forwhatitsworth.com, Click at forwhatitsworth.com, and so on. So, feel free to send us emails that way. If you don't want to write an email and want to send an audio file, or if you want to do a lovely ident for us, like you hear in the episodes where, we have to tell the people who we are and what they're listening to because that's what they tell us to do. We could always do with more fun idents.
I have an example of an ident.
Okay.
Hi, this is Ruchi C. Lexico. I'm a chronic masturbator, and you're listening to For What It's Worth.
I think he just admitted he has a problem.
We need to crop that, and that needs to be an ident now.
No!
Yes.
No!
That's why we all stayed quiet.
Yeah.
I did. This is now the new part of the intro.
Oh,
yes.
We need to bring out the soundboard, and that needs to be on the soundboard.
So if you want to send a lovely ident like that,
anal?
you can send a lovely ident like that to speakpipe.com/FWIW. As always, everything we do is word of mouth, posts on our pages. We don't do any kind of particular advertising or anything like that. So if you enjoy the show, tell a friend, share with your groups. We love to, get more out there and get into more people's ears. I think that covers everything. Yes. So looks like the next episode is going to be about the dealer's den.
Yay!
So those that have been to a con have probably spent many a dime and many an hour in the dealer's dens. We're going to talk about, the merch, the different markets, night markets,
do's
and don'ts, how to be a good customer, how to maybe navigate a dealer's room, because sometimes those things are intense.
What makes for a good dealer's den versus a crappy one?
So if you have any questions or any insight, as a
thoughts, complaints, rants,
as a seller in a den and as a buyer in a den, we love to hear from both sides. Get the emails in, and we'll also be posting the due dates for those on our socials as we get closer. So be sure to keep an ear out, and I think that's it. Anything else?
Oh, I have one more thing.
What's that?
This has been Rue.
This has been Sammy.
And Click.
And Voss.
compassion fatigue. That was the word I was looking for.
And this has been For What It's
For
Worth.
What
For
It's
what it's
Worth.
worth.